Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive on the Psycast.
That's right.
We're your hosts, the NPCs, and we're here to unpack some really fascinating source material for you today. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Castia.
And working hard behind the scenes, pulling all this amazing info together, that's Psy Guy. He's always researching, always producing this stuff for us.
Yeah, and he actually does solo deep dives sometimes, which, let's be honest.
Oh, it's a nice break for us NPCs. Gives us a chance to recharge.
Definitely. So today we're jumping into a real classic hypothetical matchup. We're looking at an analysis from the source material that pits two legendary martial arts masters against each other.
Yeah, from totally different universes. We're talking Master Splinter,
the Sage of the Sewers,
versus Ghul,
the demon's head himself.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to really get into that analysis. We want to pull out the key bits of info about each character, their skills, their histories, their unique abilities.
And figure out how the source material makes its case for who would actually win in a straight-up one-on-one fight.
It's going to be a real exploration of lore, abilities, and what really matters when two masters clash.
And we're digging right into the core material now to get these insights to you, the audience. So please bear with us if you hear any little sound glitches along the way.
Yeah, sometimes tech happens. Okay, let's get right to it. Introducing these heavy hitters. First up, Master Splinter.
Okay.
The material we looked at makes it super clear he's way more than just the turtle sensei.
Oh, absolutely. Across pretty much all the different TMNT versions, comics, movies, the cartoons, his core role is totally consistent. He's that wise father figure, a deep philosopher, and yeah, a seriously formidable warrior.
And his origin story, it shifts around a bit, doesn't it? But they all kind of lead to the same place. Him becoming a master of ninjutsu and eventually a mutant rat.
Right. The source digs into those different backstories. You've got the original Mirage comics or the 90s movie version where he was Hamato Yoshi's pet rat who got mutated through contact with his master. And then there are versions like the 2003 or 2012 animated shows where Hamato Yoshi himself turns into Splinter.
Interesting how they play with that. But the core thing, the source says, is that dedication to mastering ninjutsu. That's always there.
Exactly. That's the foundation.
And wow, does that training pay off. The analysis really highlights his combat skills, saying he's consistently shown as being even better than his sons, the turtles, who are obviously amazing fighters themselves.
Yeah. And for Splinter, ninjutsu isn't just fighting moves. It's his whole discipline. It covers stealth, espionage, even unconventional warfare tactics alongside direct combat. It's demanding stuff.
Requires total focus.
Yeah.
But the source material also points out he's not just a ninjutsu guy in some versions.
Right, especially in the IDW comics. They show him being skilled in other martial arts too, like Kao, Savate, Wing Chun. It really rounds him out.
Gives him more tools in the toolbox.
And here's something really fascinating the analysis brings up. His physical abilities as a mutant rat.
Okay.
It describes him having just exceptional agility, incredible speed, really sharp senses, and there are specific depictions, mainly in IDW, where he's shown reacting fast enough to, get this, outpace bullet timing reflexes.
Wait, outpace bullet timing? Yeah. Seriously?
And he's got impressive strength and toughness for his size. The source even mentions him dodging aimed automatic weapon fire. Plus, that tail.
Oh, yeah, Gupiansel tail.
He uses it like a fifth limb in combat. It's a real factor.
Okay, that's speed. Dodging automatic fire, that's huge.
Yeah.
And the source also really emphasizes his pressure point ability, right?
It does. It's presented as a potentially devastating technique. He can use it to just instantly incapacitate someone, mess with their nervous system.
Or just make them drop their weapon.
Exactly. Disarm them completely. He's used it effectively against really tough opponents in the source material.
Right. It kind of bypasses their physical toughness by hitting the system directly. Smart. And of course, being a ninja master, stealth is huge.
Naturally. Moving unseen, unheard. He's great empty-handed, but also a master with, traditional ninja weapons or even just a simple staff.
But it's not just physical. The source talks a lot about his intellect and wisdom.
Highly intelligent, profoundly wise. And the analysis notes his teaching style with the turtles is pretty unique. It's personalized, uses problem solving.
And he balances the physical training with academics and philosophy too.
Yeah, he always hammers home that the mind is key, the mind is your most powerful weapon, that whole thing.
And his achievements kind of back all this up.
Totally. He was the champion, the Battle Nexus in the 2003 series. And for the audience, that's this massive tournament across different dimensions, full of top warriors. Winning that That's huge.
Means he can handle pretty much any style or opponent.
And the IDW comics show him beating really powerful fighters like Alapex and even all 4 totals at once, sometimes using different styles to do it.
Wow. So what about weaknesses? Does the analysis mention any?
It does, though they're kind of debatable. His physical limits, which are still really high for his form, his age, though that changes depending on the version,
right,
and his emotional connection to his sons. But like you said, in a strict one-on-one duel, that last one probably isn't a direct weakness during the fight itself.
So he's this incredible blend of peak physical mutation, mental discipline, and deep tactical skill.
That's the picture the source paints.
Awesome. And the source had some fun trivia too, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like, in the 1990 movie, it took 3 puppeteers just to operate the Splinter puppet, 1 for each hand, 1 for the head.
That's complex.
Or this one's really out there. The 1990 Coming Out of Their Shells concert tour, the description apparently said he was Hamato Yoshi's pet rat who sang a ballad called Skipping Stones.
Wait, Splinter sang a ballad. Okay.
And yeah, the ooze origin often being tied to a traffic accident. Lots of variations.
All right, so that Splinter is pretty well covered. Let's turn to his opponent, Ra's al Ghul.
Okay, Ra's. Definitely one of the most, enduring and dangerous villains in the DC universe, mostly known as a huge foe for Batman.
And his name, Head of the Demon, or Ghul's Head in Arabic.
Exactly. And the source material even gets into the pronunciation debate.
Oh, yeah, the R-A-H-Z versus R-A-H-H thing.
Right. R-A-H-Z-L-G-U-L is apparently closer to the Arabic, but R-A-H-A-G-U-L got super popular because of Batman, the animated series, so you kind of hear both used.
Gotcha. So his whole deal revolves around the Lazarus Pits.
Right.
Immortality.
Pretty much. The story goes he found them like 600 or 700 years ago in a desert somewhere. These mystical pools extend his life, heal him. They essentially make him immortal or close to it.
That sheer amount of time, the experience he must have is just staggering.
Unparalleled, really. He started out as a physician centuries ago, traveled the world, observed humanity. It gives him this vast long-term perspective.
And makes him a master fighter and strategist.
Absolutely. The source describes him as a master martial artist, a genius strategist, a brilliant tactician skills he's been honing for literally centuries through constant conflict.
He knows many forms of combat, the source says, but with a real specialty in swordsmanship, fencing.
Mm-hmm. Often uses scimitars or katanas. His actual combat experience includes centuries of warfare, leading armies, planning assassinations. It's not just theoretical knowledge.
And the Lazarus Pits aren't just for living longer.
No, they give him temporary boosts, too. Strength, vitality. They can even bring him back from death, though usually with some nasty side effects.
Right, the temporary insanity thing.
Exactly. But between the pits and constant training, he stays in peak human conditions, sometimes arguably pushing slightly beyond it.
And weapon skills. Beyond swords.
Oh, yeah. The source lists swords, spears, staffs, throwing weapons like bolas and shurikens, even explosives. He commands a wide arsenal.
Okay, and intellectually. He's not just a fighter.
It's not. Genius-level intellect. A master manipulator. He orchestrates these huge global plots, often with this twisted goal of saving the planet by, eliminating most of humanity.
And he leads the League of Shadows, or Assassins. So he has massive resources, right? Global network, loyal followers.
Immense resources. And the source points out his scientific knowledge was way ahead of its time. Like, he apparently understood germ theory centuries before Western science caught up.
Wow. Okay, so what are some of his big achievements, according to the analysis?
Well, he's pulled off plots dangerous enough to threaten the entire world, needing Batman and sometimes the whole Justice League to stop him.
Like the Tower of Babel storyline.
Exactly. That's a key one mentioned. He used Batman's own contingency plans against the Justice League to take them down. A major strategic victory for him.
And obviously he goes toe-to-toe with Batman constantly, physically and mentally. The source mentions one time he actually beat Batman in a duel.
Yeah, though the context was that Batman was already weakened by a scorpion sting. Still, beating Batman in any fight is a significant feat.
Definitely. So, vulnerabilities. We mentioned the pit side effects. What else does the source point to?
Well, managing a global empire is a constant challenge, but in terms of combat weaknesses, yeah, the Lazarus Pit dependency is huge.
Those side effects, temporary insanity, rage, recklessness.
And the pits can apparently become less effective over time for him. Then there's his potential arrogance. Centuries of success can make you underestimate opponents.
Especially someone like Splinter, maybe? A mutant rat?
Potentially. And while he's enhanced, he's still fundamentally human physiologically. Enough damage can overwhelm him.
So it's this wild mix of near immortality and power, but still tied to some very human weaknesses, both physical and psychological.
It makes him a really compelling villain.
For sure. And Roz has some fun trivia in the source too, right?
He does. Like, IGN ranked him #7 on their top 100 comic book villains list. That shows his impact.
Pretty high up.
He knows Batman is Bruce Wayne, but rarely uses that info directly, prefers the principle of the challenge. And apparently, get this, he took his daughter Talia to the Woodstock Music Festival.
Ra's al Ghul at Woodstock. I can't picture that.
Right. He also has that super loyal servant, Ubu,
yeah,
always around. And for Batman fans, Damian Wayne, Bruce's son, is Raz's grandson through Talia.
Ah, the family connection.
Yeah. And his exact age is kept kind of vague, but estimates put him somewhere between 400 and over 700 years old.
A truly ancient, deadly figure. Okay, so we've got our combatants introduced. Now let's dig into the source material's head-to-head comparison, the tale of the tape.
Right. The analysis provides a really helpful side-by-side look. Let's start with experience and combat wisdom.
Okay.
Ra's has those centuries. Leading armies, wars, assassinations, just vast historical scope. Splinter has decades focused on mastering ninjutsu, plus that Battle Nexus champion title.
So the source kind of suggests Ra's has broader historical experience maybe, but Splinter's Battle Nexus win points to a really deep, refined mastery for, like, complex one-on-one fights against powerful, varied opponents.
Mm-hmm. That specific tournament context might give Splinter an edge in this kind of fight. It's concentrated duel experience at the highest level.
Okay, what about martial skill and versatility?
Both are obviously masters. Ra's knows countless forms, honed over centuries with swordsmanship as his signature. Splinter has that deep, total mastery of ninjutsu, which is already multifaceted, plus that extra versatility noted in some comics.
So it's like Ra's encyclopedic knowledge versus Splinter's focused, adaptive mastery?
Kinda, yeah. Ra's knows more styles, maybe, but Splinter's ninjutsu is incredibly deep and adaptable.
All right, intellect and strategy.
Both geniuses. But Ra's thinks on that global, centuries-long scale. Grand strategist. Splinter's genius seems more focused on tactical thinking, combat psychology, reading opponents, adapting in the moment.
So Splinter's wisdom lets him quickly assess an opponent and situation. The source highlights that.
Yeah, his ability to break down a style and find openings right now might be more critical in a duel than Ra's long-term planning skills.
Makes sense. Physical attributes. This seems key.
Definitely. Splinter's got that mutant physiology, inherent speed, agility, senses, that bullet timing reaction speed mentioned earlier. Ra's is peak human, sometimes boosted by the Lazarus pits for strength and healing.
And this is where that speed difference the source mentions really matters, doesn't it?
Huge difference. Ra's peak may be enhanced peak, but the analysis suggests he just doesn't operate at Splinter's baseline level of mutant speed and agility, especially those quick, unpredictable movements.
Okay. Resources and external support.
In a one-on-one fight like this, Ra's league and network don't really count. His resources are basically his personal weapons and maybe any recent pit effects. Splinter's totally self-reliant. His body, mind, and skill are his resources.
Got it. And finally, psychological fortitude, driving motivations.
Splinter's defined by incredible discipline, patience, focus. Driven by honor, protecting his family. Ra's is driven by this almost fanatical belief in his mission, his destiny to fix the world.
And the source points out Raz's fanaticism, especially if boosted by pit rage, can make him unpredictable, but also maybe reckless.
Exactly. Whereas Splinter's calm, controlled discipline gives him that steady mental edge in a fight, less likely to make rash mistakes.
Okay, so putting it all together, how does the source material see this fight actually playing out? The dynamics.
All right, picture it. Neutral ground, just the two of them. The analysis suggests the initial clash would probably start with Ra's being confident, maybe aggressive, relying on his experience and perhaps his sword.
And Splinter, probably more cautious at first, observing.
Yeah, using his speed, agility, maybe the tail, to evade Raz's opening attacks, feeling him out, looking for patterns, weaknesses. It'd be Raz's powerful, maybe more direct style against Splinter's fluid, evasive counters. Splinter's would try to control the rhythm.
His size and speed would make him a difficult target for Raz's more traditional attacks, I imagine.
Definitely. Then moving into phase 2, adaptation and escalation. This is where Splinter starts exploiting what he's learned. using ninjutsu tactics, misdirection, environment, maybe targeting Roz's potential arrogance or pit-induced recklessness.
And looking for openings for those pressure points.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Roz would be drawing on his vast knowledge, trying different styles, maybe using his reach or strength advantage, maybe relying on pit enhancements if they're in play.
So it becomes this tactical chess match, but incredibly fast and deadly.
Exactly. And the source highlights a few key factors that would likely decide it. First, speed agility, Splinter versus experience resilience.
That speed factor again. Can centuries of experience really counter someone potentially moving faster than bullets?
That's the core question the analysis poses. It's a massive challenge for Roz. Second, exploitation of weaknesses.
Splinter's tactical mind zeroing in on Roz's arrogance, pit issues, while Roz tries to find a weakness in Splinter's mutant form.
Right, though Splinter is shown to be pretty tough. Third, weaponry. Roz is the master swordsman.
But Splinter can use weapons too, and crucially, he has that pressure point ability to potentially disarm or bypass the sword entirely.
That's a huge counter. And finally, mental fortitude. Splinter's calm focus versus Roz's intensity, which might border on fanaticism or rage, who keeps their cool under pressure.
Okay, so after laying all that out, weighing the evidence from the source, who does the analysis say takes it?
Well, it recaps everything. Splinter's unique speed, agility, his deep ninjutsu mastery, the devastating pressure points, his tactical mind, versus Roz's centuries of experience, broad skill set, enhanced conditions, strategic genius.
The clash of titans.
Definitely. But the analysis points to a few things as being truly decisive in the specific one-on-one context.
Which are?
First, Splinter's speed and unpredictability. The source really emphasizes this. That level of movement plus the tail is just something Roz likely hasn't faced in quite the same way, and it could overwhelm his defenses. Ninjutsu's holistic and adaptive approach. The source argues Splinter's focused, adaptable style, built for exploiting weaknesses, gives him an edge over Roz's broader, maybe less integrated collection of skills in a direct duel.
And the pressure points.
Seen as a potential game changer. The ability to bypass durability and healing by targeting the nervous system directly, that's a massive advantage against someone like Roz, who relies partly on resilience.
And Roz's own vulnerabilities.
His arrogance, potential underestimation, and those pit side effects, they all create openings that Splinter is perfectly equipped to exploit, potentially forcing errors from Roz.
So based on all that, the source material's conclusion is...
Master Splinter.
Wow. Master Splinter takes it.
That's the argument presented in the analysis. The combination of his unique speed, agility, tactical smarts, the fight-ending potential of pressure points, and his ability to exploit Roz's specific weaknesses gives him the edge in this kind of direct one-on-one fight.
It emphasizes his specific skills over just raw time spent fighting.
Exactly. His Battle Nexus win supports that idea. He's proven he can adapt and overcome diverse, powerful opponents in a high-stakes setting. The analysis leans towards specific combat effectiveness in this scenario over sheer longevity or resources.
That's really fascinating how breaking down the specifics leads to that conclusion, even against someone who's lived for centuries.
Yeah, this whole deep dive has really been about exploring that analysis, looking at these two icons through the lens of the source material and how their abilities stack up.
We've unpacked the strengths, the weaknesses for both Master Splinter and Raz Al Ghul, and walked through the source's reasoning for why Splinter's unique toolkit gives him the edge here.
And really, the value in these who would win debates, like the analysis points out, isn't just about getting a definitive answer. It's about the fun of the exploration, right?
Yeah.
Digging into the characters, their lore, what makes them tick.
Absolutely. So wrapping this up, based on everything we've discussed from the source material, here's a final thought for you, the audience, to chew on. How does this analysis, which really emphasizes factors like speed, adaptability, and exploiting specific weaknesses, how does it challenge that common idea that simply having centuries of experience automatically makes you unbeatable in a fight?
It definitely makes you think differently about what truly defines a master warrior, doesn't it?
It really does. This has been our deep dive into Master Splinter versus Raz Al Ghul here on the Psycast.
Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. Stay safe, stay sane,